Good morning, friends. Thanks for joining us this morning at Journey Home Meditation for the morning sit. We're going to sit together for a bit with a little breathing, some contemplation and poetry this morning, and a little bit of meditative practice. I'm Michael, and I am very happy to be here. Happiness and gratitude, they sometimes go together, but not always. Not always. Sometimes I'm grateful and I'm not exactly happy for what I'm experiencing in the moment. But I can say, as a person in recovery, that even in the experiences that I'm not happy or comfortable or feeling pleasure, I am very grateful to be able to experience life as it is. As a person who has struggled for most of my life with this desire to numb myself or silence the chatter in my mind, whatever it may be, I definitely have found through my personal recovery the absolute joy in being able to experience even the hardest of things. But before we begin this morning, I'd like just to take a few conscious breaths together. It's a good practice. It's a good practice to be able to embody my consciousness. And I think what I mean by that is to be able to bring my awareness and my consciousness directly inside of my body so I can be aware of from where I am coming. So if you would like to join me, just find an open posture with your body. And an open posture for me, being that I'm in a chair right now, is to place my feet gently and firmly to the floor and to bring my shoulder blades together just slightly in the back so that it opens my chest and relieves the pressure of my emotional body causing my physical body to slump, and just feel the way that openness allows for a more deep and full breath. And let's just do 3 breaths together to begin. Breathing in through the nose to the bottom of the belly. Long, controlled, and slow breath in, and a full exhalation. Okay. So, in the work that I do at Journey Home and just the work that I do in my life, I work with people who are in various states of liminal space. Um, what I mean when I say liminal space is that space where it's a bit in between, right? In between. It's that space that we enter into when we are in transition in our lives, or when we are experiencing something that sort of takes us out of one way of existence into another. And oftentimes I work with people that are in transition of dying, people that are aware of their death and conscious of their death and seeking some assistance in finding more consciousness with their dying process. But I also work with people who are in a different type of liminal space. People in addictions, um, people who are striving to understand their suffering in a different way. And with this comes a death that is at the same time unexpected and expected. Now, obviously, we are aware that death comes to all of us. We're aware of this. But having knowledge of something and having a understanding is two different feelings in our body. And it's two different ways of moving through our world. And when we lose the connection to someone unexpectedly, it it's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to understand, and it's very difficult to incorporate into what we know of the world. Because when we love someone, what we know of the world includes them. And what we know of them includes the world. So when someone that we love dies, especially when it's someone that we haven't had the opportunity to experience the process of dying with, an unexpected death or an untimely death, it can be disruptive to our entire way of being in the world ourselves. It puts us into a liminal space as well. And we lost a dear friend to many of us, and a person that many of us loved and were loved greatly by, has died in this last few days. And there are many people who in our community and in greater communities that are mourning the loss of our dear friend Hash. Josh was a loving being, truly. And sometimes it's expected that we say kind platitudes about someone after they die, but it's not difficult with Josh to do that. Josh was his name, and Hash was the name that he was known by to many people. But he, even while struggling with his own pains and his own suffering and living within that liminal space in his life for some time, was always a source of loving acceptance. I felt wrapped in his gaze when he was here. Um, and he and I got to share some time together over the last year and a half. And um, I think fondly on that time, and I love him. And I'm very grateful to have made that connection with that human being while he was in this existence. And I'm very sad that he had to go. Um, and I know there are many of us who are very sad about this experience right now. And there won't be a time when we don't have a feeling of sadness somewhere within the memories of Hash and our friendships. Um, I've also, because of the work that I do, I am closer to experiencing the death and dying of people that I work with pretty regularly. People who use substances that are, at this point, pretty much inherently unsafe, which means that the people we love and care about are often unsafe, and it's a stress that many of us who work in this field, or many of us who have these people in our close circles, feel regularly. And it's a constant reminder and an awareness of many things. But gratitude seems to come to the forefront for me, which is very strange to think about how one can be filled with gratitude when so much death and dying is occurring around us, because we live in a culture that has taught us that death is a negative. Death is somehow a loss, or like a loss on a greater scale, like as if it's a game that we're playing. There's winners and there's losers, but the truth is, death is not a loss in that way. It can't be, because that means that death is a failure, which means that all of us who will die, which is all of us, will fail. And I don't think that that's the case. But there's a lot wrapped up in our relationships with struggle, our relationships with suffering, our relationships with shame and guilt and fear and pain, and all of the uncomfortable things that we experience in this world that we have been conditioned in many ways, or conditioned ourselves to in many ways. We've been practiced in many ways to avoid. We become very avoidant. And culturally speaking, we are very death avoidant. And that makes it even more difficult to feel connected on a larger scale when somebody that you love dies. It can feel very isolating. And I just wanted to open the space this morning on Journey Home Meditation to say that this is a way that we can hold prayer. This is a way that we can hold space for one another. This is a way that we can say the names of those we love who have died without feelings of shame, guilt, fear, or avoidance. And simply being together to hear those names and say those names, that brings gratitude. That brings gratitude. And gratitude brings joy. And the concept of feeling joy with death, I think, is revolutionary. And it's not my concept, I'm not introducing it. Um, but understanding it feels like a major shift in the way that I live in a world that is built to die. And one of the core teachings of the Buddha was that we are of the nature to die. All things are of the nature to go away. And of course, whether you're an addict or not, you don't want the things that you enjoy to go away. You don't want the things that you love to go away. So we create these functions where they don't. We create memories and we create these spaces of nostalgia where we hold on to these times and these places, and we have photographs and we have videos and we have all these ways that we can hold on to this thing. But if we inside of ourselves are not willing to embrace fully and wholly that I am temporary and I am going away, and you are temporary and you are going away, and everything we've ever known is temporary and it will go away, then it's really difficult to actually be with one another in a fully loving and embracing way. To engage with one another under the false conception that it's permanent is to deny the empowered beauty of the moments that we do have. And I love the moments that I have with all of the people who have gone. And I love the moments that I have with all of the people who are going. And I love the moments that I have sitting completely alone in this room, because my heart feels so much more connected and I feel held with the understanding that it's okay that we go away, because it's okay to be in pain and it's okay to be sad and it's okay to feel heartache. Growing pains. My dear friend Ian Fisher just released an album of songs that he wrote surrounding the death of his mother. He was very close to his mother, and his mother died. And Ian is a prolific songwriter, and so he did what he does. The way that, a stream flows, or a cloud changes shape, or a bird sings in the cold morning, Ian Fisher writes songs, and he wrote these amazing songs about the process of a mother dying. And one of the songs is called Growing Pains. And I reached out to him to thank him for that album and to say, it's interesting, all these years that we've been apart from each other, that we are still sort of generated by the same concepts, and that I often shared and taught and believe and feel that the heartbreak that we feel in these times, the grief, is a growing pain, because it's the way that we learn to grow larger, to widen our embrace, to hold life. When we can allow ourselves to be in that pain and know that we are okay, even when we're not feeling okay, that's a growing pain. But one of the interesting things about the song is when he's singing the line "growing pain," it sounds like he's saying "grow in pain." And I sent him that, and he found that interesting as well, because there is something here about that. I'm not suggesting this is the reason or the thing, but there's something here. There's something in this pain for me. There's something in this pain for you. There's something here that nourishes something about our lives. And I know it doesn't feel that way sometimes, but that's okay too. It's okay that it doesn't feel that way. And it's okay that you are angry, or that you are feeling a sense of injustice, or that you are despondent, or that you don't even know how to feel. Because this is new and very, very old. This is a strange and familiar feeling. So I wanted to share this poem by John O'Donohue before we take a bit of meditative space this morning. And I know there's a number of people in our immediate community, including an animal friend of one of my dear friends, who've died in the last week. So I just wanted to read this. This is from John O'Donohue's book titled "To Bless the Space Between Us, a Book of Blessings." And I'm showing the picture there in the screen, but it's John O'Donohue, and this is for grief. For grief. When you lose someone you love, your life becomes strange. The ground beneath you gets fragile, and your thoughts make your eyes unsure. And some dead echo drags your voice down where words have no confidence. Your heart has grown heavy with loss, and though this loss has wounded others too, no one knows what has been taken from you when the silence of absence deepens. Flickers of guilt kindle regret for all that was left unsaid or undone. There are days when you wake up happy, again inside the fullness of life, until the moment breaks and you are thrown back onto the black tide of loss. Days when you have your heart back, you are able to function well until the middle of work or encounter. Suddenly, with no warning, you are ambushed by grief. It becomes hard to trust yourself. All you can depend on now is that sorrow will remain faithful to itself. More than you, it knows its way and will find the right time to pull and pull the rope of grief until that coiled hill of tears has reduced to its last drop. Gradually, you will learn acquaintance with the invisible form of your departed, and when the work of grief is done, the wound of loss will heal, and you will have learned to wean your eyes from that gap in the air and be able to enter the hearth in your soul, where your loved one has awaited your return all the time. Just if you are able to gently close your eyes, soften your breath. This is sacred ground. So breathe gently here. Lighten your weight upon the earth by holding yourself open, breathing in and letting go. Just hold yourself open. I'm gonna play for a moment the voice of my friend Josh. And I'm gonna let this voice take us out today.
Person became in a different city with a different name. I would make my life one giant strategy game. If I could go back to the start, spend my evening being swallowed by pity and doubt, take my part in the words that were leaving my mouth. I'm angry, but I don't recall what about. Everything's falling apart. Was it ever easy, or was I just coping with things that could soften the pain, tighten the turn that could wrap it with shame? I'm barely breathing, I can know this. Losing my 20s to my kitchen floor, and I don't even feel like a person anymore. They say it gets better, but won't give a time frame. I'm coming to terms with the fact that I'm not the same person I was when I was the one to blame for everything falling apart. I stay up all night wishing that I had a time machine to do some things different. So I knew what could have been. See it unfold like a set on a movie screen. Everything back to the start. Was it ever easy, or was I just coping with things that could soften the pain, tighten the turn, fill me with shame? I'm barely breathing, I can know. Losing my 20s to my kitchen floor, and I don't even feel like a person anymore.
Thanks everybody for being here today. Love yourself and love one another. And while you're at it, just love everybody. Just love everybody for a moment. Just for this moment. Just know that everybody that you see is probably mourning the death of someone that loved them, and love that person just for this moment. And understand that everyone that you see will one day be gone and will be mourned, and love them for that just in this moment. Love them in their pain, and you can learn to love yourself in your pain. Love them in their sorrow, and you can love your sorrow. Love them in their anger and throwing of fits, and you can love yourself through your anger and when you're throwing a fit. And love them in their beauty and in their laughter and in their joy and in their kindness and in their unkindness. Just love everybody, even if just for this moment. When the next moment comes, you can make your decision, but right now, choose love. Thanks, Hash, for bringing love into the world. The way that you loved will be missed and never forgotten. All right, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Hariom.